Hello everyone and welcome back to another book review. So today I'm going to review an audiobook that I listen to, and I actually do quite a bit of audiobooks. I like listening to them while I walk on different trails and stuff, but I don't usually review them because it is difficult to hold something because I listen to the audiobook on my phone and then I use the phone to record the video. So how am I going to show you it's a thing. So the book that I read though that I wanted to review, and the reason I chose to review it is because it was so good. It was a 5-star read, so I really want to talk about it, and that is Breaking the Age Code by Dr. Becca Levy. So this book was about the way that our beliefs about aging actually affect aging, both personally and then also in society. And I felt like I understood that age beliefs might not be right, or there's ageism, particularly in the hiring industry, but I didn't realize how pervasive it was or how much of an effect your age beliefs have on the way that you age until I read this book. Excuse me. And I think this book just did such a great job. So the author broke down the way that society's age beliefs, so seeing commercials or the way we talk about aging that really depicts aging in a negative light, and different societies and the way that different societies view that. So in the United States, we have a very age negative society, so we very much prize youth. And this kind of also plays in with a book I read earlier this year called Late Bloomers, where they talked about how we have this culture of youth and early achievement, and we really push for that, even though there's a number of forms of intelligence and skill that can be gained and don't really even peak until much later in life. So in the United States, we have a very age negative society. We have a youth positive, or something that really celebrates youth, but to a fault, because we denigrate the old, and ageism is like one of the few still acceptable prejudices to have. Meanwhile, she was able to get a scholarship while she was in grad school to go to Japan, which has a much more age positive culture, in the sense that people who are older are respected, and it's there's a much more positive atmosphere around aging and the benefits that come with aging. So there was the idea about society at large. So she talked about advertising, she talked about beliefs, she talked about hiring, she talked about studies that kind of refute the way that we think aging should always go. And then she also talked about society and then also individuals. So she recounted a story about her grandmother, I believe, who, after receiving an ageist comment in a store, she immediately felt the effects and felt like she was less than because of her age, even though her age had nothing to really do with the incident. This was a 5-star read. I thought it was fabulous. I was kind of thought I was already aware of a lot of these problems, but this book really opened my eyes to how pervasive the problem is. And I listened to this book over the course of a couple days, and even in those couple days, I started noticing when people would say things or do things that really had a negative ageist comment. And as the author points out, there's no reason to not discuss things that may change or become harder and more difficult when we age, but it's the overall pervasive negative beliefs about aging that we have as a society that we really need to change. And I was surprised about how many of these beliefs I also myself had, because I have a lot of positive examples of aging in my life. I have, especially, so in one part of the book, the author referred to aging, and she started talking about it at older people, sort of old age. And she started talking about it in like the 40s, and I was like, oh my word, I don't know what circles you run in, but 40 is not old. When she was saying like older people or old people, I was like, okay, so like 80 plus, which is wild because all my grandparents are in their 80s, and I think that most of them, like good health, all my grandparents were able to enjoy a good chunk of their 80s, like very out there, so, and able to live their life. So even 80 doesn't seem wild. And that's because even though I was exposed to all those positive age beliefs and positive age examples, not necessarily beliefs, but the age examples, I still hold these like innate beliefs that now, because of this book, I've been kind of forced to confront and challenge. And it's definitely something that I think most people should read. I think the author makes a very good point when she says this is kind of the last prejudice that is acceptable, and I think we as society really need to work on changing it. So I really, really recommended this book. This was a 5-star read. I again listened to the audiobook and I really, really enjoyed it, so I really recommend the audiobook version, but I'm sure the print version is just as good. I just can only recommend the audio version because that's the only kind that I read or listened to, the only version that I listened to. So please give it a read and let me know what you think about it. And everyone, I hope you have a really great day.